All right, so today we'll be looking at usability testing. But before we start, I would want to get like I want to ask a question. What did you do last week? Tell me what you learned last week, and a personal study that you used for yourself by yourself. So anybody, Sakai, just tell me what you learned last week if you were in class.
Okay, last week we we did auditing, like UX auditing. So we reviewed the assignments that you gave us, and each and every one of us checked out different websites, which you made some highlights to some corrections. That was what we did.
Oh, okay. Um, so aside what we did in class, were you able to do it personally on your own? Were you able to look at different websites?
Okay, after that, I checked up on another website, and I think after the assignments that was on, I was trying to work on it. So I guess that was what I did during the week, the fitness app.
Oh, okay. So
So
another question. Is there any person that is having challenges doing that fitness app assignment? Okay, so let me just assume everybody is actually okay with the assignment. So we just move to what we have to do today. And for today, we'll be looking at usability testing. What is usability testing? Why do we conduct usability testing? What is not usability testing? Because most times we get to mistake some form of research that we do as usability testing. Now, one thing you need to know, usability testing is actually a type of user research that what you use it to do is you use it to evaluate a user's experience when the user is interacting with a website or an app. So it will make you as a designer to assess how your product is easy to use. So the whole concept of usability testing is you need to have you need to have something like a prototype already. So the prototype, you're not going to evaluate if this particular design, if it's easy to use or it's not easy to use, or you need to make some changes to it. Now, usability testing has a process, and the process is, first of all, you need to identify the problem that your product have. So there's a misconception most times about usability testing that most times designers feel like when you hear testing, that's the only part. When they see testing as part of the research process, it will now be like when you have the real app, you can't test. So the reason why most times when we are trying to explain the difference between product designers and UI UX designers, product designers and UI UX designers, there's one thing that is very key in that definition. They'll tell you that as a product designer, what you do is you follow the process of the product till the end, except you're no longer there. So even after you're done designing as a product designer, you need to actually follow this product from when it is launched in the market to when you start solving it. There's a particular project I'm currently working on, and the owner of the product told me that we are going to do a pilot phase of the product. Now, what are we doing mostly in the pilot phase is we are giving it out to few persons to test the live product. You don't have to test it on the live product. Now, the whole essence of this is because we want users to be able to tell us, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm not doing. For instance, okay, this is what I want you to do as a user, or this is what I want the company to help to include in the process, so that by the time we launch, we might have carried out the real testing. So first of all, usability testing will help you identify the products that will help you identify the problems that your product may have missed. It's going to, by asking real users instead of just developers. You're not asking real users as a designer. So I'm bringing it back to designers. You're not asking real users to actually complete a series of tasks to be sure that the product is actually usable. So the results, things that you get to check out during a usability test, you get to check out the success rates, the path that they took to complete it, and probably and most especially the time that it took to complete a particular thing. Now, one thing you need to know is, in as much as we have usability testing and all of that, we have user research, we have user testing, we have usability testing. All of these, we use them interchangeably, but they don't actually mean the same thing. User research okay, so now let me get to ask the question. There are three words here: user research, usability testing, and user testing. Do you think they are all the same? And what do you understand by these individual words: user research, usability testing, and user testing? Anybody? So I know that we've come across it before. That's why we are intermediate. We are in intermediate level. User research, usability testing, and user testing. Somebody please unmute and say something. It's not a one-person teaching class. So tell me what you feel. Okay, I'm going to call Caramel. Caramel, what do you understand by user research, usability testing, and user testing? Okay, Olajide.
You mentioned user research, usability testing. User
Yeah.
research can be done at any point of the development process, while usability testing is usually done after a specific process. That will be after the development has been done. That's after the high fidelity or probably the wireframe has been done. You could have usability testing, but I don't understand user testing, the last one.
Okay, any other person?
Hello, good evening.
Hello,
So I
yeah.
think
Yeah, I can hear you.
user research has to do with digging deep into the user and getting to understand the needs of the user. So you carry out some research in order to understand the need and how you can identify the pain points of the user so that you can deviate towards that side and find a solution to solve those pain points. Then usability testing has to do with getting feedback or conducting evaluation, getting feedback on what you have done and to know how far your solution works. So it's not basically, for me, it's not basically at the end of the design. It can actually be a prototype of what you think could work, and it could also be at any stage as well, just to test what you are doing and have a very quick feedback before you go going forward. And it can also be perhaps at the end of the end of the design when you have a working prototype to show your solution. Then as per the user testing, I think I have an idea. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'll just start from user research. Now, when we are doing in the design thinking process, when we talk about empathizing phase, you mostly get to hear you get to hear research as the first stage. But then research is just what we do. It's an act or what we do to gather feedback and insights from product users. And most times we actually use it to make informed product decision. Then usability testing is actually a kind of user research. So you see that user research is like the compound word. Let's use it like that. It's the compound word. It's the broad word here. You do different types of research. Whereas usability testing is actually a very it's a kind, like it's just one part of user research. Now, there are some research methods that we use, that we do most times, that you don't qualify as usability testing. I've heard people say it most times. You see that thing we call A and B testing. A and B testing is not usability testing. A and B testing is how we get to compare two different products to see if if we can improve it. Okay, so I'll say user research has to do with learning more about the users, their need, one pinpoint, etc. Usability testing is conducted to gather insights from users about their experience. Then user testing is finding out who the actual users you're targeting are. Exactly. User testing, you are trying to know which this target audience, which of them are actually my main audience. So let's say, for instance, during your research, you have to profile Gen Zs and millennials together, and then user testing, you're now getting to check which particular set of individuals are actually your real target audience. Then for usability testing is actually a form of user research. User research is actually broad. You use user research to actually find out how you use it to gather feedback and insights from your product users. You're using it to make informed decision. You're also using it to know about users' needs. You're using it to know about their wants. You're using it to know about their pain point and all of that. But usability testing, you're giving them actually the design to test, to know if it's usable, to check if it's actually usable, and if you need to make some changes so that it will be worth it. Now, like I said, there are certain things that usability testing is not. One of it is A and B testing. A and B testing is just a method that we use to compare one or two designs to see which one users prefer most. Now, the thing is, once you start thinking of A and B testing, you'll be like, oh, it's also usability testing, because in the real sense, you're giving them two variations of the product, and you're asking them which one do you prefer most and all of that. But usability A and B testing is not usability testing. Another thing that you need to know, surveys, sending out surveys to people to conduct research, sending out surveys and asking them how do we improve our product, how do we do this, how do we do that. That is not usability testing. Surveys can just help you collect data from a large number of users. So it's mostly in form of questions. You're asking them questions, you're asking them this, you're asking them that. Another thing that is not usability testing is focus group. You know what a focus group is? A focus group is the kind of group where we get to give them, like, ask them open-ended questions and allow them to share their opinions amongst themselves. It's just like in our other word, we can call it peer-to-peer learning, but this is not peer-to-peer learning. This one is you're putting them in a group. You're actually structuring the questions to meet the specific thing you're trying to solve. If you're trying to solve something for e-commerce, what you're doing is you're structuring the questions to have e-commerce structure, and you're throwing it to them, giving them open-ended questions and telling them that, okay, share your opinions about all of this. What is the goal of this particular focus group? The goal is for you to gain insight into people's attitude and experience related to a particular topic. So focus group is not usability testing. So now, what are the types of usability testing? We have different types of usability testing that you need to do, and they fall into 3 categories. The first one is quantitative or qualitative. We have the moderated or unmoderated, and we have the remote or in-person kind of usability testing. So for the quantitative usability testing, we all know from experience or from what we have done so far as intermediate, we know that when we talk about quantitative, we have to do with data. But then when we talk about qualitative, we are dealing with and just like the name implies, we're talking about quality. So for quantitative usability testing, you're just focused on the why. You're trying to understand users' experience, you're trying to understand their thoughts, you're trying to understand their feelings, why they are using your product. For example, if you want to let's say, for instance, you want to conduct a research on how people think aloud when studying, or how they read when they are studying, you have to give them a certain task, and get to observe them while they are actually reading, and see what exactly they are doing, So you can now gather all of these insights from how you observe them and all of that. Then we have the quantitative usability testing that focuses on analyzing numbers. So anywhere you hear quantitative, just know that we are talking about numbers. Now, for numbers, we're talking about the success rates. We are talking about the time that they completed a particular task. We are also talking about the error rates. How many times did a particular error pop up on their own screen? We're also talking about satisfaction rating. You're trying to also identify a particular pattern. Let's say, for instance, if people are using the product or the website or the mobile app, and they get to a particular point and it said something, you're also trying to focus on how people make predictions. Then you try to say, okay, this is it, this is not it. So you're mostly focused on the numerical data. So anything that would give you, let's say, for instance, 20 people said while they were trying to test the app, they got an error message when they got to log in. 20 people said when they got to log in, it led them to sign up. Now, remember that after logging in, they're supposed to go straight to the home page or any other page that is not the home page. But this particular kind of usability, this particular kind of product, the product now that you're giving to them, it's now leading them to, so once they click on login, it's leading them to sign up. And you know that 20% or 50% observe this particular thing, you get to make a decision at that point. Now, for unmoderated usability testing, as the name implies, you don't need a moderator, you don't need anybody. You just get to give them the tools and tell them that they should record their actions and responses. So all you need to do is you're not looking at them. You're not where they are. You just get to give them the work to do. Whereas for moderated, just like the name implies, also there's somebody that will guide them, whether in person or remotely. So you just get to throw questions at them and say, okay, answer this particular question, and then they should record. Then you get to record their observation during the test. Most times, I kind of try to also imagine how that is going to work. That is the moderated one, because if we want to be realistic with ourselves, it's not something that's really feasible, especially in this part of the world, where imagine you have almost 1,000 users, except you're inviting all of them to a Zoom meeting. And yeah, it's possible, but it takes more for you to be on the call and you're directing them, okay, oh yeah, go to login now. When you got to log in, what is the message you received? When they tell you, you now get to write it down and say, okay, this. At the end of the day, you have your data. But for unmoderated, you're not with them. Then the third one, like the name implies, remote and in-person. One, you have to bring a set of people into that's for in-person. You might get to gather a set of people and put them in the room and tell them to test it. Mostly for companies that, let's say, for instance, I've seen people do it. Let's say, for instance, you're trying to launch a gaming app, or a gaming platform, and then you host an event, something like that, and invite people to come in to this event, and then you give them options, or you give them these games and tell them to test it in your presence. But that also requires a lot of effort, a lot of planning, because you need to gather people in, and for you to gather people in, you know that it's not very easy, especially this time that we are in. That's should I say, yes, if you're in Nigeria, you know how fuel scarcity is and transportation, and then you now get to tell people to come out just to test. So you need to be creative about it, ensure that you make it what people would want to anticipate to come in for, and that's the in-person. Then for remote, like the name implies, remote, you don't need to see the person. You can just give them the softwares, the tools that they need to use to start checking it, and the tools will actually record their feedback and all of those So now we are getting to look at benefits of usability testing. What are the benefits of usability testing? One, it will provide you insights into users' preference, their motivation, and their goals. It will help you to actually know what exactly they want and how they would effectively use your platform. Now, one of the things it will also help you do is it reduce development cost. Like I said, usability testing is in UI. Usability testing is in UI. Now we also have different form of testing. We have testing even after the product is out in the market. That where you get to see there are people that what they do is they test. Like that's their work. That I've forgotten their names, but they also test apps. So that's not the usability testing we're talking about. We're talking about the one in UI UX, because we are doing UI UX currently. So that's the usability testing we are talking about. Now, for this, it will help you reduce development cost, in the sense that it's more stressful to have actually done the whole codes and all of that, to have written the whole codes. Developers will tell you they know how stressful it is. Sometimes they face hours, they take hours fixing bugs and all of that. And at the end of the day, when you send it to real users, it's not easy like you pictured it to be. It's not easy. They are finding it very difficult to use it. Then it will also help you to increase accessibility. You get to know people that actually use your product, people that are using your product that are not normal people. So when I say that are not normal people, you know that when we talk about accessibility, it's just designing for all. There's some people that are actually deaf. You get to know if people that are deaf can actually use your product. There are people that are blind, if they can use your product, and how simple your product is for them to use. It will also increase your user satisfaction and brand reputation. Imagine giving your ideal users or your target users an app that is not out in the market for them to test, and they give you reviews. It will actually boost your brand reputation, because it will be like the users will actually know that you're actually designing for users and not designing to just make money. Because we have so many companies out there that they design to make money. They build products to make money. So most times they don't even care about the ideal users and what the ideal users are going to get from the products and all of that. Then it will also help you to reduce cognitive biases. So say for instance, as a product designer, you're trying to design this, and then your boss is saying, no, don't do it like that. And let's say for instance, you finally agreed that your boss should take the lead and design it. And at the end of the day, you now take it out and see that users are now telling you this is it, this is it. It will actually make you're now getting real feedback from real users, and then your design decisions will actually be authentic rather than just assumption. So yeah, I need to ask this question here, because I was asked this question I think few weeks ago, and it was actually a very tricky question. So I want to also get your opinion. Maybe you might have experienced it before, and how were you able to solve it? So you work for a company, for instance, you work for a company and you're the product designer, you're the UI UX designer, and while designing, why you conducted your research and all of that. You were able to find out the issues, you're able to find out user needs and how you could tailor it down and how you could do it. But then at the end of the day, okay, let me use this example. There's a problem. Remember that before every product comes out, there's always a problem and a problem statement. So now there's a problem, and the problem is people are finding it very difficult to, let's say, do laundries. They're finding it difficult to do laundries all in the house. And this set of people are mostly people that work 9 to 5. And after working 9 to 5, they come back, they are tired, and that's like their life cycle every day. On Saturday, they don't have time because they need to now do personal projects on Saturday. On Sundays, for people that go to church, they go to church, and then maybe they take out that time to rest before the next day. That's before Monday, and when the stress will start and all of that. And then, are you, as the UI UX designer, you're able to conduct your research normally like you do, and you got to find out the real problem, because sometimes there's a problem behind the problem. And remember that when you're solving issue as a product designer, when you're solving any issue, there are different things you need to consider based on your users. Now, you're able to interview and you use quantitative research. So it has to do with numbers. Then few persons, let's say 10% said your the whole initial idea of what you want to do as a product, as a UI UX person, is you want to build an app that people can order for washing machine. Let's say people can order for washing machine on the particular app because you're able to detect that people don't have time to wash. And then when you conducted your research, you were able to find out that most persons did not actually choose the option of getting a washing machine, which the factors involved in this might be that they don't have money, they don't have space to put it in their house, or they don't even have light where they are to be able to use the washing machine. So let's say they use solar or they use generator, and that's your boss sole purpose. That's the reason why they brought you out, for you to do the design, and let's just say an e-commerce shop. And during your research process, you now found out that majority of your target audience chose a laundry service, where an app where they can book for a laundry service, and it comes to pick up their clothes, wash it. They don't care how they wash it, if it's and the washing machine, and return it back. So in the real sense, they don't want to own a washing machine, but they want to use a washing machine for their service. And then you're done with your research and you tell your boss that this is what. Remember that you're also involved in the whole process. That's one thing that makes us grow as individuals, because it's not just about designing. If it's about designing, AI will take our jobs. It's beyond designing. So it's the fact that you're also able to make impact and all of that. And then your boss said, no, you found out that people want an app where they can order. So that means you guys will also be in possession of the washing machine. All you need to do is maybe employ 1 or 2 persons to come to your process, 1 or 2 persons to be doing the dispatch work. They are willing to pay for the dispatch rider and all of that. And your boss said, no, you must do what he wants you to do. You're a designer, and one of your work is to solve users' problem. We will keep telling you that it's to solve user problem. If you're in that kind of situation, what will you do? Or if you've been in that kind of situation, how were you able to solve it? So this is the time where we need to talk. Molajide, Saka, Susu, Khadija, Shamaka. Caramel is outside, so you can type your response.
Hello.
Hello.
I think from what you have said, what I can understand is that you have something different according to your research, and your employer is asking you to do something else, right?
Yes.
Okay, I've not been in that situation before, but if I find myself there, I think what I can do is to run a test, to run a study or a research. He might not know what I got, so I will involve him or her and run a research, and we have the feedback. So if I have the feedback and it shows what I said was correct, and they still insist to do the other way around, then I will follow the employer. But I believe if I get them involved in the research and they get to know that the research finding according to the users is different from what they think would be okay for the user. But I also think they are going to have some rethink and rethink their decision as well.
Oh, okay. In your other opinion, remember that after every research, you do documentation. So you document your research, maybe from video recordings and all of that, and you've given it to them, but they are hell bent on doing what they want to do. So Susu, you have the floor now.
Yeah, for me, if I'm to, okay, I've never been in that situation before anyway, but if I'm to find myself in that situation, I think since let me just use the word, the MD is kind of insisting that this is the app he wants us to this is the product he wants us to actually work on. I think I can suggest that, okay, what if we now we embed what users actually want inside this design that he wants us to concentrate on. So like having two-in-one design, like two design in one. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, since he's insisting, is the boss, this is what they want this is what they want from the company, yeah. So I'll just like, okay, I'll do what they want, fine. But I think that, okay, we have to consider users as well. How about we actually like maybe have a place in the same app that I'm working on, or the same product I'm working on, where we can add what users actually want. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I can see Caramel's response. Present to him the data and insights from the research conducted and explain to him the reason why his idea would work. Make him put himself in the user's position so that you can understand it from their own point of view. Now, someone I know was actually in this kind of situation, and when I was asked, the truth is, as UI UX designers, you've actually signed, should I say, an oath? Yes, you have, because when they start telling you that user experience, you have to put the users first, you have to do this, you have to do this, and now you already know what the users want. You know what is good for the users, because not everybody can afford a washing machine. It's actually a very tricky stage. That's why and that is very tricky, because first, if you do what he wants you to do, should I say, you're going against your principles. That I don't know of you, but I know that one thing about being a UI UX designer is not the fact that you'll be able to, is the fact that you'll be able to solve real problems. You'll be able to solve problems. Is there a problem? Yes, you guys were able to identify a problem, but is the approach you're taking the way to solve the problem? No. The truth is, at that point, you know that the company, they are after their money and not what users actually want. But if you're in that kind of situation, please, I'll advise you, once you give him data and all of that, and he still doesn't want to, or let's say he or she, they don't want to agree for what you want to do, just remember that who is paying you money first. You have to survive, so follow his way. And the truth is, it will still come back, because by the time you start doing, let's say, usability testing, and you don't get users to test the app because it's not what they want, except you're doing it with your family or friends, or you've done it for 1 year and nobody has actually ordered your washing machine, then it would get to come back to who said that? Was it Saka? Okay, no. This your name is very hard to pronounce, but like you said, involve them in the research process, and see if they would have a change of mind. So, Believe, I don't know if you have anything to add here. Oh, okay.
Sorry, can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, sure, you can.
You said that the boss is actually insisting even after seeing the whole research and what user wants.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So if that be the case, so we should just like adhere to what the boss said, right?
Yes, just except you're willing to leave that company, except you're willing to resign and you have another means, because you can't argue with who is paying you money.
Yeah, that's true. But how about having an option of just having like maybe just having those two options, like okay, what user wants and what the boss wants in one product?
So one thing you need to know about product development and product, all of these things is sometimes it's very difficult to push two products at the same time. Now, it can be that that's why you see that most times it's very slim. We have just few companies in this world that do this particular thing, that the one that allow their product designers to also have like give ideas in their business. There are some people that don't like external ideas. They just tell you. I don't know if you've worked with that kind of person, but I've worked with somebody that's I'm a designer and he's not a designer. He's just my superior, and he will come to Figma and tell you, carry this button, put it here. And you know that I, being a designer, I know why for every design I do or for everything I do, I have a reason for it. So if I'm putting this button on top, I have my reason for putting it on top because I've conducted research and not just conducting user research. I've done competitive analysis, and I've seen different platforms and I've seen where they put it. I've done website auditing. I've done all of these things, and I know that this is the right place to put button. I know UX laws. I know usability, heuristic principles. I know all of these things, and this button is supposed to be here. But because of the kind of person he is, if I am designing, there's something I design that would actually not go through the arrangements. So I work with that kind of person. The truth is, since I started working with that kind of person, I've been following his lead. So you know that kind of thing when he's my superior, so the boss will now come, the main MD will now come and say, why is this thing like this? I can't give an excuse. I can't give any reason. I'll say, because this person wants it like this, that's why it's like this. So if you find yourself in that kind of situation, most times you just get to do what they want because their paycheck or their money is what is making you run monthly. That is what is helping you run monthly. Except you have another thing and you said, and you tell yourself, now, no, I'm not going to compromise my standard. I want it to be like that. Then you can just move. But when it comes to boss, what the boss wants versus what the user wants, just know that what the boss wants will always win because he's the one bringing out the money, he's the one paying the salary, he's the one that has the idea. You're just there to help him push his idea to the next level. All you can do is give in your own thoughts and then give him your own thoughts, your own suggestions based on what you've seen from your research and all of that. But if he doesn't agree, two things: follow his way or you leave his business for him.
Okay, I have one more question.
Okay.
Okay, like you said, trying to push two products at the same time, like it's not usually practiced here in, I don't know how you put it though.
No.
Okay,
I did
how
not
about
mean
those
that.
there are some company that you see that okay, they
Hello?
yeah, I can
Okay,
hear
so
you.
I did not say you cannot practice it. I know of how will I put it? I know of some companies that they sell products and they give out loan. These are two different products. These are two different
Exactly.
products in one app. Yeah. So you can do the thing is when you're doing your authentication process, your user registration process will just be like your first screen might be, how do you want to use this service? Purchase a washing machine, order for a laundry guy. We know how to wrap our brain around that. It's designed, it will surely come out. Do this or do this, right? You know, right? So
Yeah.
but then if the company, they are not prepared for that kind of way, you know that it's not just beyond getting that. Now they would have to get standby laundry guys that they would employ that would be handling that service if they want to do the process themselves. Or they will get to now do an app where vendors can get to sign up as laundry guys. So you see the different things. So it's beyond the design. It's now the business, now inside the business model. Will your boss want to do an app for vendors, or is he willing to build the extra cost of employing laundry guys, employing delivery guys, so that once there's an order on the platform, the delivery guys will go and pick it up, give it to the laundry guys will wash the clothes, then give it back to the delivery guys to take it up. So they need to, there are different ways they need to plan. Maybe their plan is for them to, they already have a warehouse where the washing machine is. So once you order, all they need to do is to just take your order. Once you've paid, they send their courier service or delivery guy to come and deliver it to you. You can see this process. This business process is just one way. But if they have to do the other way, it will now have different procedures. And remember that they also may need to make all of those processes user-friendly, because I can't order for a laundry guy and I don't see it, let's say, in the next 48 hours or 72 hours, I've not seen that person. So beyond designs, there are also business processes that even employees need to think about before they even carry out all of those things.
Okay. Okay, like for example, we have Jumia now. Jumia have a lot of other products. Like we have the logistics. They do logistics, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think they have I think it's only logistics I'm aware of. And there's some apps
They
that
have
also
food.
that they have food as well. You can deliver food and all of that.
They have payments, and if you check, all of these platforms are different mobile apps. They have different people leading it, not in one app.
Yeah. So I just want it to be clear if you can actually have like more than 2 apps or embedded in just one app. Let's say one app or one product or one company. I don't know.
So you can also have one product, different products in one app. It's called a super app.
Okay, super app.
A super app that does more than one thing. Like there's a particular platform that I designed that was 2 years ago. It was a super app. It had a courier service, so not just delivering within Nigeria, it could also deliver outside Nigeria. They had a food delivery app, like that's all in one app. So I just did the navbar had different sections. So once you click on this, it takes you to this. And they had a payment structure in that particular app. So you can design, or remember that it's more like you first of all do your information architecture, your structure, and how you want it to be before you can go on with that kind of process.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Okay. So now the next thing is we'll now get to know when exactly do you do usability testing. First, you get to do usability testing. Now this is tricky. You can do usability testing with your competitors' apps, with your competitors' products. Not everybody or not every company can afford this. So before you start designing your own, you can first of all remember user research, identifying needs, expectations, their pain points, and all of that. And then you can also do a competitive testing, where maybe you can give for this one now, it's because it's risky, you don't get to do with it so many persons. You can just get to use people that use this particular platform and tell them to actually tell you how their experience is with a particular app. If possible, you can record their platform and show you and all of that. So that's when you can do. The second one is when you have a wireframe or a prototype. Now, this is the part that is very important for all of us, because this is the part that we'll get to mostly do, where you have this thing. So now someone was of the opinion that it's actually very nice that you do usability testing at every stage of the design process. So once you're done with research, you do usability testing, whether you have what's it called, whether you have a product or not, you just test from your wireframe and all of that, so that by the time you get to the end, you might have actually seen all of the problems and how you can solve it. And remember that you can also do card sorting and tree testing on your wireframe or prototype to actually know how users are able to use a particular product. Then before you launch the product, you also need to do usability testing, because at this point you're almost done. You have a product at hand, so you get to test to measure how well your product is performing. You can also start using heuristic principles to actually check from the first heuristic principle to the 10th one to check if it's good. Then another time that you can do usability testing is at regular interval after launch. So that's why you see most companies will tell you that thank you for using our products, but we want to know how you've been able to do it. So during this phase, sometimes once they want to also launch a new feature, they allow their existing users to actually carry out testing for them to see how it's actually going. Now, how do you do usability testing? First one is you need to know your goals and your target audience. What are you trying to check in your usability testing? Then you need to look for a tool that you need to use for your testing. Then you have to have an evaluation criteria. So you're using test rates, click rates, you need to know. Then you need to also create a script. Then you need to know the length. Then run a pilot test. I already mentioned the pilot test when I started this class, that sometimes you might just give the real users that will use it, but you just give them and say they should test it. Now, this set of people that are carrying out the pilot test, you can also get to know about beyond usability, colors, text, and all of those things that was used in the product. And then you need to analyze what you found, that iterate and get to check. You get to iterate again and get to do something that is actually very good for your users. So now, how do you get users for your usability testing? So that's a very I've been asked this question several times. How do you get users? Because remember that you can't use just 2 persons or 3 persons within your circle to just assume that the product is usable. So you can invite them directly from your website. You can invite them directly from your website. So people that have used your product before, you invite them directly to come and test, maybe to a closed group. Then you can also get to employ people. So you've seen people that what they do is, I think Q&A testers, we have all of those people that what they do is they just test products. So you can also get them. I know that on a Maze panel, so there's a panel, on Maze panel, you can actually get plenty you can get 100,000 plus users that would help you to do it, but you know that that's not actually free. It's not free. Then you need to also, if you're doing usability testing, that you are the moderator, you need to actually be polite and all of that. Remember the things that you're testing. You're using metrics like the total users, total people that tested your app. You're using bounce rates, misclick rates, average duration, how many minutes did they spend. You're using mission paths. You're trying to know which way a user did. Because remember that when you're trying to draw your user flow, you get to understand that we have different ways in which a user can come to a particular thing. So you get to check their mission path. How, let's say, login. Is it that? Now remember that for processes, for instance, I want to do a sign-up screen, or I want to build a product, and there's a path for sign-up. And now this sign-up screen, I don't want users to actually sign up immediately they come to the app. I want them to be able to view the app. I think, is it Gigi? I think Gigi does that you can come to the app, even Jumia. You don't need to actually register first. That's a flow. You don't need to register first. You can start experiencing the app before you get to register. So it's only when you want to, maybe say you want to buy something, that you need to register and all of that. So maybe that's the part people are using to come into the app more. If you're testing in SOK, people came through this app this way more than they came through this other way. So you also get to check success metrics, how many testers were able to complete it to the end. And then maybe you can also test by the questions that you give to them to answer, and how they are able to answer these questions and all of that. So the next thing we are going to talk about is we are going to talk about the different tools that you can use for usability testing. The different tools that you can use for usability testing. Also, this is like a very simple math. If you want to be able to find out the total task and success rates. So let's say you gave your users tasks to do, and you decided to say, okay, I want you to be able to log in, and you want to you want to be able to analyze that particular thing. What you need to do is you get to say, okay, the total test rates, the successful tax divided by the total tax times 100. That is what is going to give you your tax success rates. Then you also get to calculate time, like I said. Then for error rate, same thing. Total errors divided by the total tax times 100 will give you all of those things, all of those data that you need. Then for usability testing tools, there are tools that you can use. One of it is usertesting.com. How do you use this tool? It's very simple most times. All you need to do is using all of these tools are actually very easy. In our next class, we'll get to focus on one and use it to test. You can use user testing. You just need to create your tags on it and define your target audience. Then you submit it. After you're done with what you want to use, then you submit it, and then participants from their own panel also. So remember that I said one of the ways that you can get people to follow up your testing or people to help you is from a particular panel. And like I said, Maze they have their own panel. User testing also have their own panel where you can tell their panels to help you test it. It's actually they have the paid version and they have the free version that you can use. We have the optimal workshop. So all of these tools, you need to just take it down and research them on your own. Optimal workshops. This one even is better because it will also help you with visualization. It will give you its maps and all of that. Then you would see a dashboard for you to understand it. We have look back. Look back is also another usability testing tool that you use. You mostly use it to conduct live and recorded usability testing, where you tell participants to share their screen and you just observe how they are doing it. So you might have sent them the link, the prototype link, and with this look back, you'll get to, it's a live one. Remember that we have the in-person and remote kind of usability testing. So one of the good feature about this particular look back is that it has real-time chats where you can chat with participants that are sharing their screen. You can also take notes on that particular platform. We have the Toby Pro that it's mostly an eye tracking tool that you get to use to track and analyze where a particular user is looking on the screen. So what is the feature? The most important feature, it has you can be able to see eye tracking data and visualization. We have a visibility hub. For usability hub, you can use it to conduct tests. You can use it to do surveys. You can share prototype or screenshots and tell users to give you feedback. One of the features is that it has Git map, click tests, and you can use it for survey. Now, you can use Figma also to conduct your usability testing. That one is very simple. Most of us, that's what we do, where you share the prototype link, but it has to be interactive. You share the prototype link and you tell people to give you feedback. That means they can be able to write comments on the screens and all of that. Or better still, because of how you're not trying to stress your users, once you give them the listing, you can just call them. You can be on a call with them and asking them how it is going and all of that. We have OBS Studio that you can use for test sections where the participant can share their screen and you also see their facial expression. So it has a screen recording feature. You can also edit, and there's an automation feature. Then Survey Monkeys and Google Forms, you're familiar with all of those ones. Maze as well, the first two we talked about, where you get to turn in your Figma prototype to them, and users can click, track, and then you can get an overview of what you can get you get feedbacks from them. All right, so is there any questions so far? Oh, Mutala, sorry. Any questions so far?
Sorry for that. Eye tracking data. I need to talk about 1, 2 like that. Please, what's the name of the tool? I didn't get that.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Should I come again?
Yeah, come again. I did not really hear what you said.
Yeah, for the tools you listed out, you mentioned one and you said it's used for eye tracking data. I'm trying to know what that's
Tobil Pro, TOBII Pro. Have you gotten it?
Yes, Tobii Pro.
Okay, so I would want us to all of this particular this in our code, I would want us to please try to check them out. Know the ones that you can easily use. If it's Maze, that because Maze is like the most popular, and I think Usability Hub. These are like the most popular ones that people use every time. But there's one thing about two is once you're able to know how to, if you know the concept, you'll be able to use any tool that you want to use. So now, any other question? Is there any other question? Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about before we wrap it up today is one thing you need to note also is it's not just enough conducting a usability test. You also need to have a usability report. So for everything, user research, you get a report for it. So anything you do, you have to get the result for it. So the first thing is you have to first of all start by analyzing your results. You get to now focus on, okay, what are you looking at? Is it success rate? Remember that you now start, you calculate the success rate, the total number of people that were able to pass this particular thing, and the total number of tasks that you give to them times 100, and all of that. You're going to get all of these statistics. But if you're using a tool like Maze, the good thing about Maze is, remember that Maze is not free. They have the free version. I think is it a trial period? Yeah, I think it's a trial period where you can use it for few weeks and then you end it. For Maze, you'll be able to generate a report one time and you get to use it. Also for usability hub, you'll be able to generate a result and you're good to go. But the same way you write normal reports, research reports, one thing now you need to note is as intermediate, you don't just do research and abandon it. For anything you're doing, you need to actually get your report. Now, the whole essence of the report is tomorrow you might decide that you don't want to work with the company again and a new designer is coming in. You see that part, that process of, but the reason why most companies will tell you you can't resign immediately is because they want you to hand over all of these things. But if you have all of these reports and it's easy to read and easy to absorb, everything is properly organized, you can just resign and just hand over everything to them on their drive. And any person that is going there would read and see where you stopped, what's next. So sometimes when you're doing your research, when you're writing your report, you should ensure to put what next. So if you're done with the research and the next stage you need to do, you're done with the research, you're done with the full process. Let's say you're done with the designing and you ended somewhere, you should be able to put all of that in your report and say, okay, this is it. This is it. So it's beyond your own case study. Case study is for you. Your report is for the company, where you get to say, okay, see, we are done with this particular process. We've done this, we've done this. This is what are the lessons, the key lessons I learned from this research process. This is the next things that we are going to focus on. What next? We'll start by designing this screen, we'll start by doing this. Like give a company a report so that in my company where I work, it's actually funny, but I do it as, so it's funny. So when I got there newly, there was nothing like what's it called, a proper reporting system. They had just developers, and you know one thing about developers, not all developers are actually good with documentation, aside from their code documentation that they do. So you don't even know if somebody is leaving, a new developer can go to the GitHub. Yeah, they do documentation, but not that paperwork. So when I got in first, and that was how I was asked to. The first stage, I told them that I wanted to do a research. Like I wanted to do research because they had the existing platform, and I told them that I wanted to do research with their platform. And to my greatest surprise, they gave me to go ahead. After the research, I gave them documentation. Like I documented it and I sent it to them. After that, this thing, I started writing product requirement documents. Now, remember that a product requirement document is not my work, but it's the product manager. But because there's no product manager and I need to also do my documentation, right? The time I'm supposed to use to finish all of this thing, I had to consciously learn how to read. So I went online and I saw a template that I took and I started writing all of those things. Sometimes you feel like it's not needed it's not needed because you just want to do your work and go. But then the truth is, at the end of the day, you know that you're not just doing it for yourself. You're actually building more momentum, and you're trying to build more experience. That if tomorrow it can be just that particular response to say, okay, in my former company, because they asked it in interview. There was a day I had to interview some set of UI UX designers, and the questions that I was given by the company was, so the thing is, the HR already had most of the questions, but they wanted a UI person to be on the call so that I'll be able to decide if the applicant is lying or not. And so the questions that were so particular there is, have you actually been have you actually encountered any problem in your design process? How were you able to solve it? You see, most of these extra things you do that will not be visible in your case study is what will actually give you the job. Because when we talk about documentation and all of that, most designers feel like it's just case study. So that's why you see everybody is just focused on putting out case studies, building your portfolio, and then we neglect all of these things. Design documentation will not show in your case study. It's not going to show in your case study, but then we need to have all of those things there because you never can tell what's going to happen in the next minute. You might get a job that requires you to leave where you are and resume immediately, and then you're leaving. You will not want your previous work to keep you and all of that. So any questions so far? We've actually come to the end of today's class. In our next class, we'll continue from doing a live usability testing. Should I call it a workshop? But for today, we've come to the end of today's class. So any question before we leave the call? Any questions so far? Okay, so everything is understood. Okay, Believe, do you have anything to add?